Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. This is everyone, I mean, believe it or not, we're doing a new episode of Wind Waker Unflooded. I just want to hype it up. This doesn't happen that often. So everyone, I just want to, thank you all for watching. Welcome aboard. We are bringing to life the kingdom of Hyrule as you've never seen it before within the world and art style of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. So welcome everyone. Y'all know the drill. Y'all know what this is about. All the, if you've played Wind Waker, you know that all the islands of the Great Sea are the mountaintops of Hyrule, but we never get to see what's below those mountaintops. So join me as we see what's below those mountaintops. We are bringing that world to life through the power of 3D modeling. This is a huge creative project. But I mean, y'all have been watching previous episodes, right? Y'all know what this is about. And if there's any new viewers, then welcome aboard. Y'all know what this is about. We're working a little more on Castletown. I've talked about it before, but man, Castletown has given me grief. It's just, it is such an important location in this world, in this history, in the prologue of the Wind Waker and those tapestries. One of the main things we're shown is the destruction of Castletown and its rebuilding to then be destroyed again, right? So it's oh man. And so within this world of the Wind Waker, I thought it'd be really cool to show what does the rebuilt Castletown look like, and exploring that and trying to figure that out has been a really big challenge because Hyrule Castle in Wind Waker is shown to be on a lake. So I have several options there, right? I can either, not have the, I can either put the Castletown on the lake, have a lake town. I really like that, or push it all just to the hillsides, but there's not much room on the hillsides. So it's just kind of extrapolating from that. I'm like, oh, I think it'd be so cool to have a lake town, but figuring out the layout of that, the design of the city, that's been a huge challenge, as it should be, I guess. Like, that should not be an easy challenge if there should be a hard challenge in this map, in this map full of hard challenges. Figuring out the layout of Castletown, that's a big one, because I also don't want to compromise or get in the way of the Wind Waker's original, beautiful Hyrule Castle model, and it stands out so starkly against the landscape there, and I think that's really powerful. And is Castletown going to detract a little bit from that silhouette? Maybe, but I love the storytelling idea of just showing Castletown. I guess by showing it in this world, it implies that it was not only destroyed before the Wind Waker, but that it fell into the lake. And that's a dramatic idea. I think that's powerful, and I like that. I think that's cool. And so working on Castletown, I figured out I'm okay with the layout that I have so far. I'm working with that. It has a trolley system now, has a couple buildings, and now we're doing some apartment buildings. I really love that. I think it's called the Houseman style. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. That architecture that you see all around Paris of those apartments, and I really wanted to elicit that kind of look. I've said before, the fact is, guys, I know you're watching Wind Waker Unflooded, and I know you're looking, to see a really Zelda Hyrule inspired, vision. But the fact is, I'm going to bring my experience from my travels and my own inspirations and things that, places that are important to me. That's all going to affect this project too. But maybe we can talk more about that after this short break. So I think it's time for a short message, and I'll talk to all of you again after the break. See you then.
If you want to be able to support me as a creator, there's several ways that you can do that. Become a member on Patreon. It gives you access to exclusive bonus features and early access content in all of my filmmaking projects. Stuff like early access to scripts that I'm writing, storyboards, previs, rough cuts, and music that I compose. I'm a composer, and any music that you've heard in the background of this video was my music. So go to Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music and type in Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify.
And we're back. As always, I just have to let you know how you can support me as a creator. Those that have supported me, that's really meaningful. And I don't make any ad revenue on this channel. I don't think it'd be right to. If you saw an ad, it's because YouTube put an ad on the video. And I don't think it's right to monetize the channel. So this project, Wind Waker Unflooded, is completely not monetized. So if you want to be able to support me as a creator, that makes possible the creation of all of my creative projects. And I really appreciate everyone who has supported me. As I was saying, I guess I just want to like kind of reiterate that this project really is inspired by what I bring to the project. And this is my creative project, so of course it's going to have that built in. And I think the fact is, even if I wasn't intentionally bringing my own inspiration to the table, my own experience and viewpoint will be affecting the project anyway. So I think it makes sense to embrace that and say, well, how can I bring in things that I know inspire me, and not just what inspires me about Hyrule and the way it's been depicted, but what about the real world that I find beautiful or interesting or historically, let's say, like, in introducing an aspect of the real world, it complements the story that we're shown in game, right? Because I think that's a big question, right? Is figuring out this, the story of Hyrule as it's depicted in Wind Waker. There's a bit of an Atlantis parallel, because it's the city that, or it's this kingdom that is now fallen into the ocean. This entire kingdom, this great kingdom that we saw in Ocarina of Time, is now all below the ocean. So there is an Atlantis parallel. And so we can draw from that. We could draw from any other kind of great civilization or kingdom or empire that fell, and kind of have a conversation about what led it to fall and what can we draw from the real world history. And so I don't know, it's like in this conversation of that, like, I think it makes sense to have historical conversations. And I think that is relevant. I guess I just want to iterate that for anyone that, if there's anyone who ever may be resistant whenever, I don't bring up like politics on the channel a lot, but I don't talk politics in order to, I don't have an agenda. But if I ever talk politics, it's because, this world that we live in is political and shaped by politics. And that would affect this project as well. Hyrule and its history is a world affected by politics. A lot of the timeline, like when we track things throughout the Zelda timeline, we're having discussions of the political history of Hyrule. And so, like, I think that, I guess I bring all this up just to say that there's, if we ever discuss politics or history on the channel, that is incredibly relevant. And really the reason, I guess, like, this is fiction, this is fantasy, but like really part of the reason that I believe this story of the Wind Waker is important is to think about what is it saying about real life, right? Both on that grand political level. What is it saying about kingdoms and the fall of kingdoms? And, what is it saying about that? But also, of course, what is it saying about personal philosophy? And I think the Wind Waker has a lot to say about both. I don't know, just kind of rambling there, but just, I feel like it's important to bring all that up. Is that, like, is Zelda an escapist fantasy story? Yes. It is definitely escapism, but it's also, it tells us, it has something to say. These stories do have something to say about the real world, and that makes them incredibly meaningful. And I think it's not worth ignoring that at all, for sure. So I definitely want to be in tune with that, and that's my goal. And part of the reason that I do Wind Waker Unflooded is to ground me in that, is to have a reason to study this material. I've always loved the Zelda series, and I've always loved the Wind Waker, but I've also always believed that there's so much to learn from it that on just a casual playthrough you're not getting, or even on a speed run you're not getting. Even if you analyze the technical part of the game, there's a story and a world there that I want an excuse to dive headfirst into and really study and try to figure out what all this means, what these developers, what they have to say. That's something that I'm still figuring out. So comment down below, I guess, like, what interests you about the story and lore and message of the Wind Waker or of the Zelda series. I want to know y'all's viewpoints and what the series means to y'all. How do you see, what lessons you take from it within your daily life, or what has it taught you about history and culture and all these great things. I definitely would be interested in hearing y'all's point of view. But I think it's time to wrap up the video. I'm really happy with how these apartments turned out, and I'm really excited about, I guess, like, just adding more to the city now. Looking at it now with this sense of scale, with the apartments visible, really inspires me, and it makes me more confident to keep working on Castletown. And so comment down below, of course, any ideas that you have about the city and what to add to it, what kind of buildings you want to see, what kind of, just what's going to help make that city pop to you. What do you want to see in it? So, I mean, yeah, like I always say, comment down below any ideas that you have. I read all the comments that I can. And if you have any positive or negative criticisms, feedback, whatever it is, I want to hear from you. I really want this to be a community thing here. So, but without further ado, y'all, thank you all so much for watching. But yeah, I'll let y'all go.